Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and as you can probably guess, I just saw X-Men Apocalypse, and well, I loved it. Now some of you, and I'm talking about those critics out there, have been giving this movie horrible reviews, including Rotten Tomatoes, who gave the movie only 48%. I don't know what they're talking about, this is stupid, let's get into it. So X-Men Apocalypse is basically the kind of origin story of a few X-Men characters, including Apocalypse himself, who is the Doomsday Bringer, Storm, and Magneto. We get to see a little bit more of a softer side to Magneto. He has a family, he has a daughter who's seemingly like Scarlet Witch. We only get to see a little bit of her powers before she's unfortunately executed by a bunch of police officers. It's really, really sad. And then, Magneto goes on a rampage and starts killing everyone because he's angry. He loses his wife and daughter to one arrow, pretty much, at the same time. So his being enraged is totally justifiable. I am so happy that we finally get to see a bit of Storm. Halle Berry didn't really do Storm justice to me, although at the time I really loved it because it was the first time I had seen Storm on the big screen. But this girl is a great actress. Storm actually had an accent in this movie. It was very heavy, which I really liked because this is very reminiscent of that old X-Men cartoon that I used to watch every morning on Fox Kids, and it was just really cool. I'm really happy with it, and I hope that we get to see a little bit more of Storm as these movies move on a little bit. Move on a little bit. I don't know what that was. So Apocalypse's story begins in ancient Egypt, where we get to see him do this ceremony which allows him to jump from body to body. He was about to jump into someone's body who's exactly like Wolverine. Now as the ceremony is taking place, he gets betrayed by some of the soldiers in the city who believe that he is a totally false god. Back then, he also had his 4 horsemen who protected him throughout this entire ceremony. So as things went to hell, they were fighting and protecting him to the end. Technically, he could have been crushed by a giant rock, and that would have been the end of Apocalypse. But of course, someone sacrifices themselves and he lives on in this cocoon. Apocalypse is later discovered by Moira, Professor X's ex-girlfriend. Apocalypse gets awoken in this cave that he's been cocooned in by these followers who believe that he is the one and true God. Now, they're chanting away, and Moira's character actually triggers the spell, if you will, by allowing the sun to hit the pyramid, and all of a sudden Apocalypse is awake and he's like, where the hell am I? What is going on? Why can't I speak the language? And then he runs into Storm, who is his very first horseman. Now, the beginning of the movie is kind of a rallying of mutants because Apocalypse needs to find the perfect 4 horsemen to help him basically end the world, because he said, you know what, I left the world, I'm the almighty God, and I've come back to be like, listen, we need to rewrite these wrongs, you humans are crazy, I'm gonna blow up the world, essentially, and whoever survives will be glorious, is what he says. Here's the thing, I enjoyed this movie completely. Wolverine makes a badass cameo. We get to see him just like how he was in the comic books when he escaped Strider. He was Weapon X, as you know. He's got the helmet. He looks exactly like how he does in the comic books. So for all you comic geeks and X-Men fans, this was the perfect cameo. Now, Jean Grey doesn't actually help him out in the comic books the way she does in the movie, but it kind of sets up his love affair with her. So we allow this. The only annoying thing that I found in this movie is Jennifer Lawrence, Mystique's character. I don't know why they try to make her the main character about everything. Yes, it's J-Law, Jennifer Lawrence. Everybody in Hollywood loves her for some reason. Now, don't get me wrong, she's a decent actress, but do we have to focus the entire movie on her and her trials and tribulations? Like, no one really cared. I'm kind of over it. But outside of that, I really liked the movie. I am excited to see how X-Men is going to continue. We get to see Sansa Stark, who plays Jean Grey, which I think is totally awesome. And we get a glimpse of the Phoenix. Now, it would be really cool if someone finally did the Phoenix Saga justice. I think that she's a great actress. I think she does a great young Jean Grey, and I would like to see her continue as an X-Men on the big screen. I didn't get to see Jubilee. It's like we kept seeing her, glimpsing her a little bit in her little yellow jacket, but of course she doesn't say much, and I don't know why they keep selling her short. I can't wait though until the X-Men actually come together completely. We get a glimpse of it at the end where they have their retro X-Men suits, which I thought was really cool. Quicksilver. His story is really cool. I like that we got to see another Quicksilver scene where he saves everyone from the giant fire or explosion that happens after Apocalypse takes Professor X. He saves everyone, which is really, really cool. We also get to see him take on Apocalypse, where he's running around him and beating the crap out of him, which is really cool because we expect him to do that because he's the fastest man alive outside of Barry Allen. Of course, he gets his ass handed to him, but it's all good. That's what we wanted to see. I was a little disappointed that Quicksilver never got to tell Magneto that he's his father. And he says at the end, you know, maybe I'll save it till later. So I expect to see Quicksilver in these movies and continue to be part of the franchise. Now, if you guys stayed after the credits, there was a little treat for us at the end where we get to see that someone goes back to take a vial of Wolverine's blood, a vial of Weapon X's blood. And of course, it says Essex, which is Sinister's corporation. Now, if you're familiar with the comic books, you know that Sinister is one of the baddies that's part of X-Men, and he actually has a slight obsession with Jean Grey and Cyclops. He actually creates a clone of Jean. They have a baby, it gets messy, and he also creates Weapon X-23, which is basically the girl version of Wolverine. This is really cool. I think this might be part of the last Wolverine movie, maybe, and we might not get to see that in an X-Men film, but it's all the same. I think it'd be really cool, and I'm really liking where the X-Men series is going. First Class was really awesome. It's totally erased the third X-Men movie that everyone thought was completely horrible, but it all makes sense. The timeline got rejigged in a very nice way in Days of Future Past, which I thought was really, really good. I'm glad that whole thing got erased and we can restart and be fresh. The only thing that I want to see outside of Raven not being the main character, because who cares about Jennifer Lawrence, honestly, is to see Wolverine in his original yellow Wolverine suit. So maybe we'll get to see that. Maybe we'll get to see it in the last Wolverine. Hugh Jackman makes his last stand as Wolverine, and yeah, I really like the realm of X-Men, and this movie was good. Despite what a lot of people have said, I actually really, really liked this movie. Comment below and let me know what you thought about the film if you got to see it. What were you missing? What did you want to see? Did you really like it? Were you okay with Jennifer Lawrence? Because I don't know, I'm kind of over it. But anyway, let me know. Share, like, subscribe, and until next time, catch you later.